Hi everyone, welcome back and thanks for joining me today. This is Jonna with Purple Girl Crafts. Today we're going to be making this twist and pop card. Now I need to put something on the back, but this card, as you can see, I've done a couple of different things. So I've done a little bit of layering on here and I'll show you how I did that. And then when you open this up, it will twist and pop. And I staggered my pieces and I'll show you how I did that in the tutorial. This card requires no die cuts, just used my trimmer and my scoreboard to cut the pieces. So let's just go ahead and get started. So for the first piece, and this will be for the base piece, we will need one piece, and this is going to be cut at 10 by 7. You're going to flip it back on the 10-inch side, and we are going to score this at 5 inches down the middle. That again will be for the base. Next, we need one piece, and this is going to be 9.5 by 3. We're going to leave it on that 3-inch side, scored at 1.5, turn it, and we're going to score it at 4 3/4. Then we are going to put two little marks. We're going to put a mark at 3 3/8 at the top and the bottom, and then 6 1/4. And those are just so that we can score between those lines. You could fold it, but it's easier just to score it. So I'm just using my scoreboard, and one of the lines I'm lining it up and then just scoring that out. Okay, so that's that piece. Then we need one piece. This will be 9.5 by 3 1/4. We're going to turn that back on the 9.5-inch side, and we are going to score this at 2 3/8, 4 3/4, and 7 1/8. So we'll just do those 4 score marks on that piece. We're going to do some more cutting on this, and I'll show you that in a minute. Then we need 3 pieces, and these are going to be cut at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. And again, I have 3 pieces. You can use all the same color. I just used 2 different colors. Then you also will need 4 pieces, and these are for the panel on the inside, and these are going to be cut at 2 1/4 by 2 7/8. And again, I did 2 different colors on that. All right, so we're done with our scoreboard, so we're going to move that out of the way. I'm going to grab my trimmer. And on that piece I told you we were going to cut, so on this piece, we are going to cut just a little bit off on a couple sides. So I'm just putting a mark on the panels where we're going to cut off. So we're going to go every other one on each side. So just like that. So where I have the pencil marks is where I'm going to cut away. So we'll cut at 1, and then from the score lines to the score lines. Now I know it's going to be hard to see because of the score marks. So I'm going to line this up at 1/4 inch. I'm going to start from the bottom, making sure that's lined up. And then I'm just going to cut it from the bottom to that first score mark, and I know it's hard to see. Then I'm going to lift it, go up to that next score line, and then score down to the next one. Then you're going to flip it over, and we're going to do the same thing. So we'll line it up in that 1/4 inch mark. I move my board around, and then just cut from that bottom up to that first score mark. Skip that next panel, put your blade back down, and score or cut out that panel. So this is what you should have here. Let me put the trimmer back. So you can see you'll have your pieces that are loose, just like that. Then we're going to take our scissors, and we're just going to cut that piece away. And this is how you get that staggered edge on the end. So just like that. Now we're going to take these and we're going to fold these. And you can just fold them in any direction. You're going to end up with an M shape or a W shape, just depending on which way you want to do it. But you just want to fold those in opposite directions so that you end up with a piece like this. And again, this will be for the inside of the card. All right, so we'll set that aside. Now for this next piece, we're going to fold that long ways on that score mark that we made. And then we're going to fold it in half the other way. Then we're going to fold those lines down, and you can see they should be lined up with that center point. So your line should be lined up. So it crisscrosses it, just like that. And then just crease those out. And then you just want to fold this down. I like to fold mine the opposite direction just to give it just a little bit more movement, because it'll help it to make it fold easier. As you can see, as you start to push on them, those we're going to go in. You can see how it just starts to give. And then you just want to take the longer sides and just fold them on themselves. And this is the shape that you should get. And then go ahead and just crease that out again, just to make sure that it's creased out all the way. Now you can take and just cut just a little bit of that pop off, just so that it doesn't make it too pointy on the top of on the center of the card. All right, so we're going to take the base of our card and we're going to fold that, crease it out, and then we're going to put our layers on. Down here, I'm going to do red. No, I think I'm going to do red and green on the inside. I don't like the way the red looks. So we'll do one red and one green, because we're also going to put the green on the inside too. So we'll do one red and one green one. So I'm going to glue these down. Now you could use your tape if you wanted. And then once you have that down, just push it down. You can use your bone folder just to make sure that glue is secure. We'll glue the other side down. And so that's for the base of the card. That piece is done. Now for the mechanism, we're going to work on this. So when you do this, you want this to fold out this way. So as you can see, you want the flap to go up. So you want it to be the M shape and the flap go up. And then you're going to lay this in between those two. So just put it right in the center of it. And you're going to lay it so it looks just like this. You want to make sure it's in half. Once you know you've got it in half, you can just lift up that first side if you want to, or you can just lift it back up and glue it. Whichever way is easier for you. You can let it lay down and just glue that. But you're going to glue one half. And this again will be if the flap is facing you. And then you're just going to lay it in the middle of it and just make sure one side is up. And then you're just going to secure that down. Then you want to flip it over and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to glue that other side. So you can, like I said, you can just lift it up. And then put glue on that second side. So this piece will be in the middle of those two. It'll feed through it, like almost like a weave. So one side will be on the back and one will be on the front when you're done. But this is what you will get when you open it. Get just a little bit too much glue on there. And you want to make sure this is totally dry before you put this in the card. Then to place this in the card, this is easy. What you're going to do is you want to make sure you've got it in the center. So I'm just going to mark this so I know I've got it right in the center at 3.5, because the card is 7 inches wide. And then we're just going to lay that just like that. Now you can just leave it on there and glue it, or you can pick it up and glue it like I am. And I'm just going to add glue to one side to start. And make sure that's on that line. So you can see it doesn't go over the end of the card either. So I'm just going to secure that piece down. And you want to give this time to dry before you open it. Then I'm going to turn the card the other way. Actually, I can't. Let's move it this way. So we're going to put glue on that other panel, or just on that top piece. And then we'll close the card down on itself. Again, you want to make sure that's really, really dry before you open it. And so once you open it, this is what you will get. As you can see, it just pops right out. So I'm just looking to see which way I want the card to go with the colors of the card. I think I'm going to do the red at the bottom. So now for the next piece, we're going to put the smaller pieces that we made. These are going to go, and I'm going to do red, green, red, green. So just like that. If you had a pattern paper, that would look pretty in here too. And these are just going to get glued right on there. They're just about 1/8 of an inch or 1/16 of an inch of border. That's it. It's very small border in here. Okay, so that is the inside of the card. That's your twist and pop card. Now for the angels, I have cut out, I drew these and I cut them out and I colored them with different hair. They're all the same angel. And I'm just going to put these on the card, just no particular, way. They will make sure that they are in the center of each of the panels. So just glue those on. And just like that. So it looks pretty good. All right, then for the center of the card, so this piece, I'm sorry, this piece is going to go on the front, so we'll glue that on. We're not going to glue it on yet. And I just want to show you what else I have. So I've got some flowers. These kind of blend in with the color of the paper. So I'm going to grab a piece of green paper to put on there. And at the same time, I also did sentiment. I just printed that out on printer paper. Then I used my cardstock to print it on. And this just says, have yourself a merry little Christmas. So I'm going to put that right in the middle at the bottom. So it just brings out that green from the top of the card. Making sure it doesn't hit anything when I close it. And then for the front of the card, we'll put the red piece, we'll put this piece on top. And then the flowers will go on here. And I'll show you a trick of what I did on the flowers. And then we'll put the angel just in the center right there. And then I also have some leaves too. All right, so I'm going to work just on this extra little piece that we're going to put on the front. So we're going to work on the flowers. And I'm going to glue these down. This time I'm going to use my Barely Art glue. It's because it's just a little bit finer tip. So we can make sure this gets glued all the way down. I'll place these just on this piece. I'm just trying to figure out how I want them to go. And then once I glue this one down, I decided that I want just a little bit of height. And I'm just making sure these are secure, but I wanted just a little bit of dimension on here. So instead of doing a pop dot, what I did is I took just some extra cardstock that I've got laying around, and I cut just little squares out. And then I'm going to cut that piece again in half. And I'm going to use this just to raise this flower just the slightest bit so it's got some height, so it looks like it's standing away from the others, but not a lot, if that makes sense. Instead of using a foam dot and you've got that 1/4 inch thickness, this is just a little bit. You could add, 2 or 3 pieces, and it just pops it off of the card just enough so that it's got that dimension behind it. So I'm going to put this right in the center of those 2 flowers. And then I'm going to glue the other flower right on top of there. And then I'll lift this up just so you can see if I can get it at an angle so you can see. So you can see just a little bit of height, just enough to just give it just that little bit of dimension. All right, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the leaves. And I've got just a bunch of different poly leaves for it. And I'm just going to stick these around. So I'm going to speed up the camera just so that you don't have to painstakingly watch me glue all these down. Right, so I like that about. I don't want to do too many on there. So this is going to get glued to the front of the card. So make sure this is right on the edge. It's got that border all the way around. I'm just using my bone folders to make sure. And then the angel, and I'm going to do the same thing on the angel. I'm going to do some pieces. So I've got some extra green sitting right here. So I'm going to do the same thing, but this time I'm going to do 3 layers on them, just so she's got just a little bit more height. And again, I'm just going to glue these down. Just want to make sure they don't stick over the top of the, her, so that they're not sticking out from under her. And then just glue this down. And then again, so I'll just put glue on those extra pieces that I glued to the back. And then we'll pop her right in the center. And I'm just pushing the glue down where I put glue. Again, let me lift this up and turn it so you can see. So you can see she's got just a tiny bit of height, but it makes her look like she's standing away from the paper. So I really like that idea of using just strips of paper just to add dimension or just a little bit of thickness to your card, or you don't want to use a foam dot and add extra thickness. All right, so this piece is going to get glued just to the front of the card. I'm making sure it's got that even border all the way around. And then I'll use my bone folder just to make sure it's secure. So just like that. Then I just quickly grab just a couple gems. I'm going to put just a couple on the front. And there you have it. That is the card that we made today. I want to thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Please join me on Facebook. There's some new giveaways out there where this angel is part of it. So I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.